Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. It's another Go for God session. And Mary and I were just talking about how blessed we are to have these mighty companions that are so devoted to come together and look and be shown by Jesus what we need to see for healing the mind. Together in how we're given for each other, and how this is the celebration of holiness in this coming together to really be coached directly by him. And this is something the ego does not want to do. But the most important, valuable thing he's teaching me is we have the power to say no to the ego. And to see this play in the mind and to say no to these plays in the mind. That's happiness. It's like so much joy in that, to see we have power and stop the little play of, the back eddies and everything. So it's so good to see you. And it feels helpful too, because we've had several people. We were going to join and look at desires, which we will do. And I think this is going to be a facilitator support session, is what I'm hearing, because really there are different assignments in the atonement that we agree to undertake so that we can hear Jesus better. And one of them obviously is these sessions, coming into these sessions and going, okay, what do I hear? And then speaking it. And it is a partner program in terms of partnership of following and clearing desires, because, and I'm going to talk about it tonight some as well, how you can't even really hear them clearly while you have all the desires. How important it is to join, to be dedicated to hearing them clearly, because there's such a kerfuffle in the subconscious mind. And then to be with night mighties who are so clear, who will not compromise divinity for anything, and how valuable that is and how we need them. So we're going to ask him today to Jesus, what desire do we need to see that's most helpful for healing the mind together? If someone has something that's come up, we can ask him about that and see if it's for everyone. Then we'll all hear it. We'll hear the desire. And then I'm going to talk about, as we're going through as a facilitator, how a facilitator can really, first of all, the first thing is anyone facilitating these groups is you're listening to Jesus. He's facilitating the group. So that's really the first thing, is that it's just training. So we pause and ask him, what about this? What about this? And then you'll start to catch the plays in consciousness, not judging the play, but seeing it and then listening for him to redirect us back. I'm going to ask him if I talk about it. So with some of the looking, you'll notice that the play, the ego's going to start throwing out the kitchen sink. All kinds of physical symptoms, and, your hair's on fire, or, it'll be interpretive functional call. Okay, here's fear, or here's, it might be a flat out no, which is good to admit. Look, I admit I don't want this. And several of you did this morning's session on the course lesson, just go, I don't want to accept miracles, which is good to see, because we didn't see it before. And then if something arises, we're always going back to source and going, so let's listen, regardless of what kind of kerfuffle seems to be, like we're on fire on inside. This whole thing is to train the mind, train us to, instead of following the fear, following the chaotic thoughts, is just to go, okay, this is interesting. Let's ask Jesus what he is saying about this. So instead of us going, giving all kinds of reality. I mean, we can admit it if you want to admit, look, I seem to have this occurring, but we don't have to spend much time on it. Remember, he says, one upset, twitch, join with me in a moment of life. He never says you have to, examine it down to the last detail. You just go, okay, I'm not at peace. I'm going to find out what Jesus has to say and use it as a clue. So the upset itself becomes a clue, or the fear seemingly, or these plays in consciousness, it becomes the clue to look deeper in the mind. You just go, I feel that. First of all, I'm not going to interpret it. I'm going to let Jesus interpret it. And it's this, a play in consciousness to block deeper looking. So you'll see how powerful your mind is to catch this, because in the play of consciousness, it's like, oh my gosh, I wake up on the train of hell. How did I get here? He's saying, no, don't get off. Like Muji would say, don't get off the platform. So in these joining sessions, and just reminding anyone new that's watching them, we're just going to follow generally the Junionn like worksheet. It's not complicated. It's pretty darn direct. One, the first thing is, like Mary will start with the light. Start with the holy instant. If you haven't seen it yet, just say, look, I'm going to see it. It's mine. It's not out there somewhere. It's not bestowed on your head by the miracle fairy. You are it right now. I don't know what, I guess I thought sometimes I don't know what I thought miracles were, because it doesn't really matter, but sometimes it's like, okay, if I can get dinked on the head by the miracle fairy, or something. No, it's, I'm going to look inside and invoke divine power, because I am determined to see. I mean, he really means that. So first of all, it's going, as he said, it's a Course in Miracles in his worksheet. Ask me. That's what I'm the one with the plan. I wrote the book. So let's talk to me first. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. So anytime we feel ourselves a little, that's not talking to him. Some people say, I can't hear Jesus, but we know for sure all the in the mind, that's not Jesus. Okay. So we go here. Okay. So here, see, that's the training. To the light, to the light. And then you'll break that pattern up of, constantly the joy and the relishing of jumping on the hell train. That's so that's the only purpose of these joining sessions, is to see how much we really relish jumping on the hell train and riding it, and then go, what happened? This is terrible. Okay. So that's all. We're continuing with a gentle question. When things like that, it's, if you notice it, oh my gosh, it seems like fear. Okay, first of all, make sure it's fear, because you don't know. Ask him, Jesus, do I actually know when fears are rising, or am I putting a label on something? See, it's interpretive function in consciousness. He feels the sensation that it goes. Then the Star Trek Enterprise shields up, and several of you said in the joining sessions, it's really I can feel my shield's going up, but we're catching it. Do you see? I can see it in the joining session, how beings are catching it. They're going, wait a minute, wait, they'll see the upset or whatever, but they're going, I'm going to look anyway. So first thing, we start with the light. Secondly, we don't know. It's not our function to tell Jesus the entire story of what's happening. It's not our function. Our function is go, I don't know, and drop it like a hot potato and just go to silence, contemplative. Look in. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. He knows the plan. So now, because we have a very experienced group of joiners here, but you don't necessarily have to, but you'll find it's helpful, because the first couple of times when you're doing this, you're just going, I'm not sure I can hear Jesus, but just go, no, I'm not going to bother. I'm going to hear him. It's the last thing I do. It's the most important thing to me. Okay. So let's ask him now, are there any desires that he would like for us to go through together? Hidden desires to deny love. And let's hear what he says. I'd like to hear from the Jesus team out there, because we're surrounded by Jesuses. So Jesus, what is most helpful for us to see. And if you're not sure and you just had a twitch, you can just say, look, I had a twitch. I want to look at this one.
Well, I heard something, but it seems, I don't know, it doesn't have any coarse language.
Okay, so what did you, we'll ask Jesus. He can tell us.
Well, it was desire for spaciness, which is weird. I don't consider myself spacey, so I don't know why that came to me.
Oh, I'm getting a yes on that. Will you guys hear?
Spaciness?
Spaciness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I also want to make sure it's picking up you guys, but we'll bring it a little closer. You guys hear me all right? Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, this is a good one. Ask them if this is the same as the relishing of feeling distracted from looking. Oh, Mary's shaking her head up and down. She's right here next to
You
me.
said yes.
This is so beautiful. Yeah.
What
Okay.
What is it? Feeling distracted from what?
From deeper looking, from looking,
Oh.
just seeing what's true, the spaciness. I'm asking him, okay, is that the same as mind wandering? Listen to what he says. What do you hear?
I'm hearing no.
It's interesting. What are you hearing?
I was hearing yes, and there's also out picturing, which Mary loves to do.
The first one is distracted from going deeper and seeing what's really going on. That really resonates with me, but I'm sure they're all relevant.
Yeah, well, we'll just look. We're just exploring. So you just start exploring and going for the yes, no. Tricia said it so spectacularly, like these layers. Like the first layer is when you hear this, let me see if there's this desire. And sometimes it's like, I don't know. I don't think I can tell that desire. The next layer is, well, yeah, maybe that's there. And then the next layer is, oh my gosh, it's really there. And the other layer is, holy smokes, it's my entire world. So just see if that may or may not apply. But that's what I'm hearing from, that it's a way that consciousness plays within itself, not to know itself in wholeness. Because if you look at the light, it's just here. It's not spacey. It's what is. It's just here.
Yeah, I see it like it's like a puff of magic. I disappear. It's like bluff, gone,
Oh,
and it's like gone. So that's kind of my little walk.
so let's just ask them then. Is this? I hear, you can sometimes you get his answer right away, but I'll let everyone else. Jesus, is this what Leo's bringing? This gift? Is this what we're to look at today?
I heard yes right away. It's a gift, yeah.
Okay.
I heard yes, and I also heard the phrase space cadet, which I associate with pretending you don't know something that you actually know. Like nobody is genuinely a space cadet, but people play the role of space cadet. They pretend they don't know things that they actually know.
This is going to be a deep dive, this one. Okay, give it to us, Jesus. Who's in? We're going for it. Let's take a deep look at this relishing. Jesus, do I absolutely relish the play in consciousness to space out and pretend like I don't know who I am?
Yes.
I love playing spacey.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is just a huge exercise in avoidance.
Yeah. Like hiding and hidden all the time.
Yeah. Well, Jesus can, or, okay, can you show me the full relishing of that? How much I really love that. Is there any place in my mind where I'm just really loving this form of avoidance or not seeing, kind of spacing out?
It's like an addiction. Really.
Yeah. Will you show me this real addiction to this spaciness thing? Am I willing to see it all the way, the whole thing? Will you take us all the way? I like asking that question. When I'm ready, sometimes I'm not ready to ask, but remember, God's not waiting to be ready. God is in. You're either in God or, well, you're spacey. Okay, so Jesus, will you help us go all the way on this? Relishing the not no God.
I heard yes.
Yeah, the relishing of being absent from God.
Yeah. Oh, feel how much that's loved. Now, some beings have asked me, I'll comment here, if you look in the ACIM texts, or some of them, it talks about, I haven't searched on the word tension, but Jesus is saying it's in there. So the miracle denial expresses itself as tension. So just, you might see a lot of yawning. This is like yawning away the ego when you really, when the miracles start moving, sometimes you'll find yourself just yawning. I kept asking Jesus, it's okay, because I'm yawning nonstop. But you'll see how much tension. It just expresses in consciousness that way. So no, it's not sleepiness. It's waking upness. See, conscious goes, oh, you must be tired. No, consciousness is getting a clue. Just kind of yawn out the old dead tension. Okay, now I'm asking him, Jesus, are we ready for a miracle? I hear no. What do you hear? So now, all that means when we're asking him if we're ready for a miracle, because he knows when we're ready a miracle. Remember, he controls all miracles. Because we are playing the game called consciousness pinball. And consciousness pinball is to deny the miracles. And so the consciously controlled miracles are misguided. So it's best to give it to the one who knows to guide the miracles. And so he's not saying, when he's saying you're not ready for a miracle, he's not saying you can't have one. He's just saying somewhere in your subconscious mind, there's more content that you would rather maintain than see what's true. There's some kind of little treasure thinking that some part of this desire has some value. So let's see if we can go down there with them. We just ask them, okay, what do I need to see, Jesus? How is there some way usually when we're not ready for a miracle, it means that there's something in the subconscious mind that we think's heaven, that somehow spacing out is heaven. There's some kind of heaven in it. So who's hearing something about how the consciousness is making that desire to space out and not see the truth of identity? What anybody's hearing anything that what he's saying about it?
What I keep hearing is there's a lack of urgency and willingness to recognize that this is getting me nowhere. I think it's getting me something.
And Mary, if it was getting you something like, consciousness, the play, what is the belief about what it's getting?
I think I'm getting some form of relaxation and happiness.
Yes,
Yeah.
I heard happiness too, and peace. There's some idea that spacing out is peace.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, do I believe that spacing out is happiness?
Yes.
That's a yes.
I'm getting the word ease, and I'm also experiencing spacing out during this. So it's like I have God attention deficit disorder or something.
It's just, you see how great these are. They're just so great. Ego's going to avoid this like the plague. Look how good that is. God attention deficit. Jesus, do I relish the experience of God attention deficit disorder? Do I just love that with every cell? Sometimes in these desires, I could feel it in every cell how much I wanted it. It's like, oh my God. Okay. So can you show us the little golem, like the devil jumping up and down and having a party over keeping this desire?
Yeah, there's the belief that this is more natural than talking to God.
That's helpful to see. Jesus, so I have a belief that this is more natural. Spacing out is more natural than speaking with God. That's helpful. See, it's letting each of these things like land in your heart. We call it grokking, like it becomes so universally recognized. It's almost like it opens, I don't know how to describe it. Like for me, every cell. For Mary, she describes it as, oh my God, I just see that fighting is everything. You just see it like that everything is that. See, that's seeing how it pervades. He says these things pervade all experience. So when it gets that global, I'm asking if I can say that in the awareness, that's it's coming up out of its little hiding place so that it's not a fragment anymore. It's, it's seen in wholeness. Let's put it this way. And the bloom's off the rose. It's not the shiny treasure.
Yeah, it's running the show and loves it.
It's like my life, my identity.
It's my life, my identity. So
yeah, like my whole life. It feels like it's just been my whole life. It's been this spacey, wanting to be this space cadet.
yes,
Not know.
I hear yes to that. That's see, again, we'll bring up the term honesty of God. You're going to see how powerful it is. That admission of wanting the denial. It's like greases the skids for the miracle. Is there anything else you're getting on? What's that getting you? What do you believe that's been getting you? The hat to be spacey, your quote unquote, your whole life. To play that game in consciousness. This is going to be deep. Mm-hmm. What do you hear?
What I hear is like fulfillment, like a sense of belonging, or that I'm going to know myself this way.
What I'm hearing, I hear yes to that actually. But if we go deeper on it, the word, I'm asking Jesus if it's deeper. You can always check in with him because he knows. But I hear superiority. Like it's a form. I hear powerful and superior. Does that resonate? Can you hear that?
Yes. Yes, it's like a get, I'm going to get this. If it's like the last thing I do, it's like everything.
If the last thing you do, you're going to get,
I'm going to get this. If it's the last thing I do, it's like it's
what's the this you're going to get? It's like, I hear this is mine. The spaciness is mine. Is that, or does that resonate?
yeah, yeah. Possession,
Yeah.
ownership, dominance. It's like a very
Yeah. This is the way I dominate through spaciness. Now, who put that together? Only Jesus is going to put that together for us. See, we
You know,
yeah, go ahead.
well, it's just what came to me was very different, which was that it's about pleasing others, my spaciness, and it's about not being powerful. In other words, not having God's power flow through me. That's my experience that came to me. I don't see why it has the same though.
Well, we'll do a test too on that. See if, what does people pleasing actually get? What do we think we're getting when we people please? What's underneath that? See, there's something deeper than that. I mean, it's good to see. All I'm saying is he's saying, let's really look at what that is deeply. This is a good opportunity that Lael's offering, and also that Renee's offering on this power. We have to see how we think there's abject power in the avoidance of divinity. You know, that's not a small thing to see. And then where Lael's pointing to the people pleasing, but really look at what the treasure we think is in people pleasing. What do we believe that people pleasing in the subconscious mind is going to get?
I'm hearing reciprocity.
But what does that get?
Love.
Yeah.
Yeah, feeling that I'm here, I'm valued.
Jesus, this helped me feel more valuable than God. That's deep. You can hear I can feel my hair right now.
Yeah, I can hear, I'll fight for that.
I'll fight. Yeah, I'll fight for that. Listen, what's coming up. Yeah. I'll fight to be more powerful. God, it's a power play. It's a power play. And ask them whether people pleasing. This is a real deep one to see. Oh my gosh, you can feel the energy in this one. Jesus, is people pleasing a power play? But it's the love is part of the heaven idea, but it's good to see the concept of what we believe love really is. You know, the love to get kind of concept. Oh, are you hearing something, Darlena or Leo or Janice?
Same. Yeah, the sacrifice, people pleasing to get love. Checking out was huge.
Yes.
In their relishing to check out, to stay stuck.
Yeah.
And it's giving to get. The people pleasing is a giving to get mechanism where, okay, you know, I'll do this, but you're going to give me this, right? And whether it's acceptance or love or approval, I'm doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
Not out of the kindness of my heart.
And if you stay with the getting,
Yeah.
see the wanting, that's the getting that Darlene is pointing to for us all to look at. Start to notice what that is under that getting. What's that?
And that's a lack of belief that God that meets my needs.
Mhm.
I don't believe God can meet my needs, so I got to get something. I
Yeah,
got to hustle.
I'm getting
I got
protection.
people please.
Mm.
Protection.
What I'm hearing is that I have to get in order to prove I exist.
And Renee, you wanted to say something too.
Yeah, I was just looking at how it's like passive aggressive.
Yes. It's really seeing the beast under this. That's what we're going
Mhm.
for. This is a deep one. We have a team now that can really look kind of balls on,
Mhm.
you know, and that means like full power. Aeronautical term. Full power into turning in to see the beast. Because we can, you know, on one hand, because I, you know, people or whatever, but let's find the golem, the real beast, the real power play against ourselves in this, you know, the spacey, mind wandering. What was the word you used? You've been what all spacey? No, you didn't use another word.
Well, I hear ambivalence. It's one, but I don't know. There was something else. It's like blankness.
Blankness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just feel that blankness, that liking. And then Janice used kind of another word. What was that word you used, Janice?
I said checking out, maybe.
Checking out.
Yeah.
Just start feeling that stuff go up your back,
Mm.
you know, because the suppression is always of the relishing. We're not suppressing the emotion. We're suppressing how much we love and just this world of having a blank mind or a checked out mind or a spaciness or, you know, anything to escape the truth. And just to see if we can, are we willing to see, I mean, we don't have to experience the beast, because if the mind goes, only focuses on the relishing, well, we focus where Jesus says, but I'm asking, pure wanting of this, to let the wanting, the desire burn out. Because really we're desireless, but we let the desire burn out. But sometimes we really won't allow ourselves to see it because there's some mechanism in consciousness that it belief that this is okay. People pleasing is okay. You know, spaciness is okay. You know, I'm helpless to it, all that kind of thing. But somehow if you get down to, I'm asking Jesus, so I want to be on point on this. You get down to what a power play this is.
Mhm.
How it's a power play, because I wouldn't put spaciness with power play against God.
Mhm.
But when Jesus puts it in there and we really look, it's profound.
Yeah. See manipulation.
Yes. Yeah, see, at first it looks like a little rabbit down there, and then it starts to grow horns. You know, its eyes start to protrude a little,
His teeth get longer.
teeth get longer. But now it's revealing itself.
When I think of spaciness, I think of mind wandering. And the Course says we're passively condoning our mind's miscreations with the mind
Yes.
wandering. So
Yes.
it's just the ego perpetuating itself and keeping the game going,
Yes.
you know.
It's
So,
just it's helpful to see kind of, we call it the secondary gain of these things, because we think it's valuable in the play. So with this looking, we can get down to, let's just see if it's really a treasure down there. Like by direct experience. Are we willing to see what Jesus would reveal fully on this play in consciousness of mind wandering?
mhm.
You know, and just, okay, give it to me, Jesus.
I notice what's coming up is I want to protect it.
That's good to see.
Mhm.
Yes, sometimes some beings, this is good for facilitators, know the play will be, it'll be anger or anxious or fearful. And to really remind, just, okay, let's look what's under it, you know?
Mhm.
It's almost like, okay, I'm going to defend this to the death. And that's literally what it is.
Yes.
Jesus
It's a death wish.
Yeah, the death wish. Mhm. So,
like-
yeah. Am I willing to see Jesus that that's the death wish
Mhm.
fully? And admit that's a death wish? See, because what the ego will do, it'll compartmentalize each of these out. It's gonna build like a little compartment, so we don't see the big picture. That's what fragments are for. So we can delude ourselves. Maybe Renee, if you can sit
Mhm.
right here at her feet,
Oh, okay.
a little closer,
Yep.
then we can all be in the camera. Okay.
I don't really see or feel the death wish. I keep thinking about watching television, which is something addictive for me, you know, which I do think is related to spacing out. And I guess I could see that as a kind of death wish. I don't know. It's confused. I'm a little confused, but that could be my spaciness.
Well, just ask them if the experience of spaciness is valued more than the experience of God.
No doubt.
Mhm.
And that's all the death wish is. To
Mhm.
death to light, the awareness of light.
Yep.
Am I using this to deny divinity, Jesus?
Yes, it's very deceptive because it seems very innocent. There's like something innocent seeming about it.
Mhm.
Benign.
Yes. That's why we're trying to get to be open-minded to see the beast.
Yeah. Well, the ego can be aggressive or it can be passive aggressive. You know, it's kind of the same ego. It's aggressive or passive aggressive, but it's still underneath it is an attack on God.
So let's see, that's what we really want to see it by our direct experience, that this mind wandering or the is an attack on ourselves. See, that's what the ego's hiding. You know, because you can hear the benign, it's, you know, there's a belief that makes this okay.
Mm-hmm. Daydreaming, just daydreaming. What's the harm? You know?
So what is it really down there that's actually happening that we need to see so that if the bloom is off the rose, it's not such a cheery prospect to release it to a miracle.
It's like obliterating the light.
But that's, you got to go deeper than that because we don't, it's not a problem to obliterate the light in the ego's thought system. We have to really find where's the golem is in it, how much we like it.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it's to stay as long as possible.
Yeah.
What was that?
To stay as long as possible. See, now you're starting to see where the real, you know, you can start to see the devil dancing around the fire.
Oh yeah.
That's what we want to get to, is see the devil dancing around the fire on it.
Mm-hmm.
And sticking its hand in just for fun so it can get burned.
It's to appear non-threatening, because what's more innocent than just watching TV or daydreaming? There's, you know, that's just seems so innocent and innocuous to us, but it's like, it's still mind wandering. It's, I'm still edging God out. I'm like, I'm not in the light. I'm not communing with God while I'm doing that. And it's okay. I'm not beating myself up for it. It's just that I'm postponing the inevitable, like a delaying maneuver.
Yes. Because there's some belief in the mind that it's not a problem. For, that's what we're really trying to get to in terms of this really deep looking on this one, which is really profound, because Jesus said that's like a crux, right? We're too subject to tolerance and mind wandering. So having the willingness to have him fully expose this is powerful. So we don't indulge in this anymore. Because that's the true healing, is have the miracle to change a perception that mind wandering or spaciness or whatever you want to call it is okay. That's some kind of, fabulous place to be. But he keeps telling me it's valuable to see that it's a real power play against ourselves. Like, it seems innocuous, but it is a power play.
Yeah. It's like I'm hearing just to stay fully with that. Like, that's all, to just look at that, the power play.
It feels helpful.
How much I want that.
Yes. The relishing of that power play in the
Yeah.
mind. It's because then it moves into face of innocence where it's innocuous. But like, without seeing the real energetics of what's under all that. Will you show me the relishing of that? How I'm making that my entire world? Am I willing to see that?
I hear that it's like, I think that attack is salvation. Attack is my salvation.
Yeah, we wouldn't associate mind wandering with attack, that's for sure. But whenever a miracle's not accepted, we know we're 100% sure that there's still some kind of value placed on it. So that's what we need to check in and say, Jesus, have I seen everything I need to see on this? I hear no immediately. Okay. Am I willing to release this fully to a miracle? I hear no on that too. Okay. So what else do we need to see with it?
I'm hearing choice, that I think I have choice in what I think and what I do. And that's like heaven. It's like I'm going to protect that.
So the spaciness protects that from
Yeah.
seeing that directly.
Yeah, I have the choice to be spacey. I have the choice to outpicture, mind wander, It's a choice.
Yeah, I'm just seeing being stuck and delay. I check in on I'm stuck and it delays function, true function.
Yes, that's good to see. This is a really deep one to look at in the mind. But he wouldn't be given it unless he knew we were ready. It's part of our function to see this.
It's kind of like trying to examine a blindfold while you're blindfolded, because I keep spacing out.
This is really spectacular that you're bringing that up, Lael, because you'll see it too. Like, we were looking at the desire for fighting. Well, you're fighting while you're looking at the desire, and how humorous, if you take it the lighthearted approach. But even for you to see it and recognize it is stepping back from it and going, okay, what? So if some kind of avoidance is arising in awareness, then I just say, okay, I'm looking anyway, like you're saying.
I mean,
so what is it? Yeah.
Well, the damage of it, like it seems so innocent to me, but the damage of it even just within the dream is so utterly profound, because I feel like every accident, every pain, all of suffering comes from it. I guess that's true of any denial of the light, but it just seems
Well,
it's the
it's
opposite. It's the opposite of presence. It's absence.
it isn't, I'm hearing it's important to see for this one. But are we willing to fully grok that?
It's important to see.
Yeah. Am I willing to see that fully? Because it really is a so what, God's not here kind of thing. You know, it's a play of so what, God's not here. It's the ostrich, right? Sticking its head in the sand, saying, oh, that's not a problem. And then complaining about how dark it is and hard to breathe down there. We're so funny. So what else are you hearing? Darlena, what are you hearing? What's going to take this all away?
I heard that the holy instant, just asking for the holy instant, remembering to ask for the holy instant when I find myself mind wandering or spacing out. Is just, it's, I can change it like that when I remember. And when I don't remember, it's because I'm choosing not to remember,
I heard the word bridle, which is very funny word for me to hear. And then it made me think of in the New Testament that Jesus talks about the brides should keep their lamps lit. I don't know that well, that passage, but it's just very funny that I would hear the term bridal. I mean, I'm not married, and I don't have any bridal. I don't think of myself as very bride-like, but the bride of Christ is a very strong metaphor in the New Testament. I don't know.
So what is it, Jesus, that we really need to see to, what's the avoidance of the miracle on this? Because are we ready for a miracle? I asked him, he says, no. So what do we need to see that's...
When you said bridle, Lil, I thought of a horse bridle.
Oh.
The rein of a horse. And that's how you control a horse. And all the, Buddhist literature talks about training the mind is like training a horse, a wild horse. And it's true. Just the holy instant is just taking the reins and going, nope, I'm gonna ask for the holy instant and just, be still. And it's hard. It's very hard when you're habituated to thinking, and as everyone knows, it's...
So let's ask them, see if we can find the relishing of this.
Yeah.
Will you show me how much I really like it, Jesus, so I can release that for a miracle?
I relish the whole thing, the whole being addicted to thinking, of being a thinkaholic, and not being able to meditate. And it's like just part of the identity I've created for myself is that's part of the definition. And so it's kind of, yeah, I love it. I relish it. That's why I'm doing it. But at some point, it becomes more painful than, what's the word? It becomes more painful than enjoyable. And I'm ready to stop already.
Yeah, I keep seeing wrong mind relishing. blind spot, see my way through. I'm the one creating the blind spot.
Jesus, are we willing to admit we're the ones choosing this and creating this blind spot?
I mean, I don't think it just seems like it would be too hard to never space out. That seems like a burden. It's the only way for me to be unburdened. I need to be able to space out. This is not okay. Sorry.
I don't think it's all or nothing. I think it's just slowly but surely kind of, for me, spacing out would mean to stop the habitual thinking. And that would be like maybe 1 minute out of every hour, just counting my breath. Like start small like that.
I don't feel like that. I feel like this is telling me to let go of all spacing out because I already do a lot of lighting my lamp for Christ, blah, blah, blah. I guess I'm having a moment here. I'll just mute myself.
Okay.
Well, I think, Laels, what we're really looking at, see, what he's taking us to, if you see the relishing of it, it's before all thought. So, like, we can try and interrupt the pattern. That's by doing some of these other things. And they can help to a certain extent, but it would be like, let's get the fuel that's lighting the fire. The fuel under the fire is the relishing of the desire for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go to, okay, go ahead and give it to me, how much I really love this in its fullness. Am I willing to see that? Will you take me all the way there? Then that's the fuel, and the fuel goes to the miracle, and it's not treasured anymore. And then, and keep going, because that's the other thing. It's so important. You'll see it more and more as with the looking is, it's like you can get some lightness. Things will start to lighten up. But when the mind gets really honed to going to Jesus and checking in on honesty of God, okay, is that absolutely released from my mind? So ask him, Jesus, am I absolutely willing to release all value I've placed on mind wandering? Yes or no? And see, if you hear no, you see that's where the real crux of it is. The real crux is the complete relishing of the experience of being spacey, or it still has value somehow. That's how it appears in experience. But when the value goes, it can't appear without the wanting of it, without the desire for it.
Mm.
So that'll go to the root. That'll take out, that's why desires take out continence. Like beliefs can take out a few things, and some of these other practices, like, mantras and things like that, they're kind of chipping away. But if you want to take the mountain out, you just go ahead and work with Jesus. He's going to show you what is the miscreation. What value am I placing on this part of the miscreation? Because the only reason why it's not immediately a miracle, as soon as he shows us the desire, I'm going to change my mind about that, is there some kind of value in this mind wandering, in power? That sense of power is still there, wanting the power of it, relishing the deception, he's telling me, relishing self-deception, like loving every minute of it. And loving the powerlessness. So it's powerlessness. These things come in pairs. It's very interesting because, that's the duality. I feel powerless to this thing. Here's something I can feel powerless to, mind wandering.
Mm-hmm.
That's profound, So am I willing
That I'm getting power from that.
Yes, I'm getting power from my powerlessness.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
That's what?
It's true.
Yeah. And I'm loving it, that's where we're trying to get to. See the devil's splint in the devil's eye down there. But am I willing to give it up yet, Jesus? Yes or no? and see that it has no value for me. That's the question. That's why we need honesty of God for him to say, no, you're not anywhere near giving this up. You're nowhere near wanting to see that this has no value. That's why that guidance is so important, because he knows where the bones are buried, right? And so he's going to say, look, here's a bone that's really buried right here for you. And go, oh, I don't know. Because we love the power, you know, but when you start to see the relishing of the powerlessness in it, I'm powerless to this, nothing I can do, but I like the power in it because it's power over God. Jesus, is this a play in consciousness of having power over God? Mind wandering. That's deep. Who talks about
choosing? I'm sorry, it's choosing the separation. In that given moment, I'm choosing the separation. I'm choosing the separation. Okay, so Spirit has all the time in the world. You know, I can continue to choose a separation as long as I want, but I'm going to be miserable.
Am I willing to see the Genesis? I'm choosing Genesis in that. And
the power of ignoring God. It's like, you know, talk to the hand, but don't even talk to the hand. Talk to the middle finger.
This is getting deep now. We're starting to really go in and see, where do I think there's something little shiny object down there I'm trying to keep in this mind wandering, and am I willing to let him show me it has no value for me?
Yes.
I'm hearing autonomy for the 3 millionth time.
Yeah. I mean, it's so profound. He says you're too subject to mind wandering. It's interesting how he gives us the course, and in the course, okay, we can only handle 3 minutes a day. Are we going to blow up? Even with that, you feel like I felt like I was going to blow up with 3 minutes a day doing a course lesson.
Or I can handle a miracle in a nanosecond.
Can a miracle. So we could just keep going back to him in this, because this has been more kind of than we usually have, at least for discussion. Let's go back and ask him, Jesus, what else do we need to see, so that we're because it's exactly like Lael says, as soon as you start looking at mind wandering, what's going to happen?
Your mind wanders.
Your mind wander. But it's part of the light training. This is part of the light training. I catch myself all the time. He's showing me something important and I'm thinking about ice cream and, when's the next movie I'm going to? And God, I got to get out of this joining session or whatever. Okay. But then it's gently, like Ramana says, you bring the cow back into the barn. No, I'm going to come back with Jesus, and I would ask him the question. That's why those questions are so powerful for me, because I'd go back to him. I'd kind of catch it. Don't judge it, right? But I'd go back to him and say, okay, what do I need to see here? And just be determined to see, we just keep coming back and say, okay, I see that my mind's wandering. I'm coming back. What do I need to see on mind wandering? He keeps telling me, he says, you don't think it's a beast. That's what needs to be seen. This thing is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
It's the genesis of all suffering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Am I willing to see the relishing of this is the beast factory?
Yeah, I'm willing. Totally. It's the tiny mad idea was mind wandering. I wonder what would happen if I had a party and didn't invite God. Poof. It happened. Or it appeared to happen. Poof, like that.
That's Genesis. That's really why seeing.
Sorry, what?
No, that's just the benefit of this deep kind of looking to see and grok what the real play is here.
Well, I was going to say I invited God late on purpose so he couldn't come. I mean, it's a joke, but I think it's actually accurate.
So Jesus, are we ready for a miracle? What do you hear?
Yes.
I can't hear that.
Yeah, I'm seeing I don't want to give it up, if I'm really honest.
I can give it up for one instant, though. Get one instant at a time. I can give it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is a bit of the day at a time giving up, but it would be one moment at a time, and maybe we can have willingness to give it up one moment at a time rather than forever. I don't know.
I think so too. I mean, that's my plan. I mean, I can't say I'm going to give up mind wandering for the rest of my natural born life. That would be foolish. I can't say that right this minute, but I can say I can give it up now and just be here.
I see that I want to put it on the timeline.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, more than anything. I want this more than God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we're getting deep honesty with God. When we see how much we want it more than God, the experience.
I mean, right now I feel like maybe I don't want God at all.
Yes, that's good to see.
What's the point?
What's the point of not wanting God at all? Or
No, what's the point of wanting God? What's the point of God? I'm just telling you what my brain is saying right now.
yeah, that's good to see. See, yeah, that's how it helps question question divinity. I asked Jesus, this is good to see what you're sharing, because I'm asking, is that part of the mind wandering? See the defenses.
Well, until a person has had that revelatory experience of God, which I have not had, it's kind of like you're shooting in the dark. Yeah, I don't know what this experience is like. They say it's blissful, peaceful, pure comfort. I mean, I've read the descriptions, but I've never had that experience.
Well, you've had part of the experience if you've had the holy instant. If you recognize the holy instant, you notice what that's like. That's just like a little finger thing, a little glimpse, but we'll talk about it tonight more. The thing about it is there are a lot of beings that call spiritual awakening that are not awake. Because it's transitory. Jesus's definition is very different. Jesus' definition is a consistent state of peace and joy, consistency. So we'll get hits on it. If you contemplate light, inner light, you'll get hits on this joy and happiness. But it's the release of the desires, all these desires for something other than that. And then there's just a resonant state of happiness. Like our whole being is just that. There isn't an other, right? Because there's no desire for other. So yes, what you're pointing to, Laura, it takes a lot of, it was like, I was constantly going, I've been forgiving my brains out. Where is the supreme happiness? Everything talking about hidden under all these mind wandering desires. So that's so potent that he's bringing this up. And then that relishing energy, the more the relishing energy is released, the more joy the relief in the being from that, just staying with the relishing. Jesus, do I just flat out, the faster you get to the flat out relishing, if he shows something, give it to me in full. you'll see how fast it is and how happy you just you'll sit there and you're going to be laughing. Like, you don't know what you're laughing about. You just laughing like a loon, because you'll see every time somebody says something, you'll see it in wholeness. You'll see it. Oh my God, I believe that. And it limited me. But it's all under these desires, the relishing of the mind wandering to avoid the experience. And this is a really good point she's pointing to here, because the holy instant, you'll notice you can see it for about a second, but like Muji would say, you don't know what you found when you recognize that there's light here.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many layers of desires over that, not to experience that in fullness. If you look in the ego thought system, when people are waking up, they're going, I'm going to be incinerated. You know, I'm going to be blown up or something. From within the bubble, the looking within the bubble is always, it's the whole manufacturing of it is to feel like you're going to be totally destroyed. That's part of the belief you were looking at the other night about being without source. So all we need to do, really, this is where the faith and trust come in. I'm going to look at every desire he gives me, and I'm going to ask him to take me all the way on it, no matter what it takes. And you'll see the benefits of that, because you get lighter and lighter, and you just get these hits of like, good gracious Scott, of just joy. That coupled with following, because following is the way that he shows us some deep stuff down there. You know, he shows us the places in the mind that we're avoiding looking. I'm asking, where we're at sleep the most. That's interesting. So it's beautiful to have, so some beings will have these awakening experiences. But again, you can contemplate light, just contemplate light. You'll start, you get a hit of joy, you do that for a while, because it can't be suppressed so much. But the sustaining part, the reason why, Vita and those sorts of things, they're helpful, because the recognition of light is helpful, that something here is undying, but it won't be experienced in the fullness, because there's too many desires to want mind wandering and not have it be experienced. So
Maybe.
So I was just going to say, the ego doesn't even understand its own paradox. So it's any trying to understand in the head.
yes, it won't work. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's the play. But these deeper relish, for me, I'll just share my experience, man. Once my mind, I can never totally grasp what Jesus shows me. There's like no way. But once I got that I was to look at every desire he showed me and ask him to take me all the way on it, to relish it, and the sense of the beingness would be so relieved. There's just this, relief, and the relief turns into just sheer shots of joy. And then the joy, as those relishings go or released through miracles out of the mind, then there is just joy, because there's no desire. Like Buddha said, desirelessness is nirvana. So the good news for us is that if there's a twitch, we know there's one place to go with it, which is to Jesus, to have him show us, what am I relishing experience over the experience of joy? So this one's a big one to look at, this mind wandering, and to see that it really is not an innocuous little friend. It's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
I was experiencing all this bliss this morning, because I got on the morning call for the first time, and then when we were meeting just with Mary, I mentioned it, and the bliss is kind of coming back now, but it did go away at a certain point. So maybe that's why I became aware of the spaciness.
Wow. I heard yes to that.
Yeah, I was really blissed out this morning. I was also blissed out yesterday. I mean, I've experienced bliss since I've worked the course for a long time, and I have moments of that. But since, losing my hearing in this ear and everything that's gone along with that, my bliss has really, it disappeared basically until yesterday, and then this morning, and then it was gone again.
Okay. So we want to go back. This is why this is good to look at. We want to keep focus on the relishing of not having this bliss. This is how it dives under the covers not to see it. It doesn't go away. What happens is the desire not to see it pushes it out, is designed by design of Genesis to push it out of awareness. Because sometimes it feels when it starts coming up, I remember the thought, it's like, oh my God, I can't take this. This is so much. But who's saying that? You know what I mean? You know. But we have to also ask on bliss. I'm not hearing that in this particular case, okay, Lael, at all. But I want to be clear, sometimes there's a play in consciousness called bliss that is not the real deal. But this is not the case. But I'm going to say that because there are a lot of beings that can actually use bliss for avoidance. So
it's definitely God bliss. And this is answering my question, what is the point of God? And it's like, oh, it's my happiness, it's my bliss. Okay, that works for me. Yeah. I am, motivated by selfishness. I'm like, oh, okay, I actually like that feeling better than all the misery. So understanding this, so I guess I feel this has clarified stuff so that I think I can be maybe more of a joyful guardian of my joy in a way, staying alert.
A happy learner. Because here's the gift that he's giving us, because you can hear it in satsang when people go up and go, what happened to my joy? The joy I felt, it went away. No, you can just go, oh my gosh, I have a desire not to see it. Show me that, Jesus. See it, instead of being at a feeling of loss, we have a feeling of, oh, I desire something else. Then it becomes very quick. One twitch and I'm in with him, and then I just release that until the point where all the desires not to experience the joy are washed from the subconscious mind, unification of consciousness and beyond. That's like a step, but hopeful step. To be unified consciousness. I'm happy just saying that word. Celebration of joy. So seeing this through, Jesus, what else do we need to see? So this has kind of been a combination of satsang and a session, but it's helpful to be a good facilitator session, because we can, we're kind of pointing to, okay, where we're observing, the mind goes into play on these things. But by and large, in the looking, and this is a really deep one to look at, we want to really stay focused. Am I willing to accept the miracle Jesus? I still hear no. And okay, then show me where it's still relished, where I'm still thinking this is a nice little Christmas package to have mind wandering.
Yeah, like happiness.
Yeah.
Happiness.
Jesus, do I believe that happiness, my total happiness, comes from mind wandering? See, this is where we really see where that treasure is, where we're confused. Can I ever find happiness for this in honesty of God? Am I willing to see I could never, ever? It's a concept of happiness. It's a construct. So it's an impossible construct to be achieved. Because the ego's happiness is always a future experience. I will be happy if I finally get enough of this mind wandering, and finally fulfill it exactly the way that I want. I will have happiness or love. So it's the genesis of a timeline.
My non-acceptance of a miracle, which I'm super aware of because of this issue, because I see myself and it's like kicking a can down the road. I'm like, okay, but we can't do it. I don't want it now. I want it really, really badly, but it has to happen later. And I don't know why I keep doing that. It's driving me nuts, honestly. But it's like I think I'm willing to have the miracle. I'm just not willing to have it now. It needs to be delayed.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I am doing that. This is making everything more vivid for me about my ego or about my choice to suffer or whatever the fuck. And it's driving me a little nuts that whenever the miracle comes close, I say, yeah, that's great, but that's going to have to be later. Why am I doing that?
Well, you don't have to ask, you just ask Jesus, what is it that I need to see on this? What you're seeing, though, it's so important. Don't underrate how important what you're seeing is, because what I realized, and I've said this before, this became a course. I didn't realize it was a course in how much I did not want miracles.
Well, it's driving me nuts.
Because the miracle, remember, what was the lesson for today? You know, we have to see how we do not in any way, shape, or form. I sat with them on the relishing of not wanting miracles, not one shred, not one ooch. And I could feel it with every fiber of my being that I did not want miracles. So I just sat with the relishing of it until it burned out. That's all we're seeing by coming together. That's the gift we're bringing each other. The play is not to have a miracle, and in particular, not wanting one ooch of a miracle on mind wandering. Because of the power we get from it, power thing, the perceived power it brings. That's what I hear from him. That's all I can say. So what's still the treasure in the subconscious mind on mind wandering that we wouldn't accept a miracle right now on it?
I know better.
Yeah.
And I'm also hearing that I think mind wandering is really easy and accepting a miracle is really hard.
Oh,
I got that one down pat.
That's good. That's good. Anything else anybody's hearing on this? Where's the foot on the brake? That's why we need his help. See, we need his help to show us, let me show you where your foot is on the brake to hide yourself from divinity, from seeing it. Because I'm asking him, so this is the refusal to take ultimate responsibility for the mind. And he said, yes, okay. Yeah. That's like the crux of it. I don't want to take responsibility for my mind. I'm asking, it's relishing the helplessness feeling that comes from it. That's what I hear. Anybody hearing anything else?
Still more power, thinking that there's power in powerlessness.
Yeah, I hear yes for that. And it's interesting, you'll get to the point, but you're really going deep when you're starting to go into the mind and you just feel like one big fat halt. But that's really where the determination.
One big fat what?
When you go into the mind with them and you start really seeing the break. I don't want to
say one big fat halt.
Halt.
Stop.
Oh, halt. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't catch that word.
Oh, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I could see how. Yeah, so one big fat foot on the brake going, I am not, you can just feel that pedal on the floor. Stop the car, stop looking, stop, that. But we see it, and admitting, man, I don't want to see this. But that is really where I am determined to see comes in, and not tolerating that. And just for me, I could just speak for me. There was just something switched in my mind where that's miracle mindedness. He's saying, where he's saying, you are showing this to me and I'm going to get a miracle, and then the whole focus is I'm going to do whatever looking you're going to show me. And particularly in this relish. As I've said here, my eyes would crack open in the middle of the night. Okay, what do I need to see? Riding on the bus, I'd be relishing. Walking the dog, I'd be relishing. Whatever he would tell me, that became more important than anything else. if he said to do it. Sometimes there's function, and sometimes there's just, that's why it's helpful to have like an environment where you can just go spend relishing, if he gives that assignment, because then you just go into the cocoon and I'm just going to look in my mind, and no distractions from that. But then, it's hilarious because we complain about not having any distractions. But anyway, but when your mind gets, that's the training he's given. As soon as we're just going, I'm getting a miracle on this, and no matter what, that's when we get the miracles.
When you say you were on the bus or walking the dog relishing, you mean you were going deep into your awareness of these desires?
Yes.
So that they could be healed.
Yes.
So you weren't relishing God, you were relishing the denial of your divinity.
Yes. I was asking Jesus, what do I need to see now? Can I look at something now? I was constantly asking, can I look at this? What about this? What about that? If you tell me no, I wouldn't. If you tell me focus on this, I wouldn't. But if he said, yes, let's go, I didn't care what I was doing. Washing dishes. I'd just go, okay, then that became paramount of just, he just taught me how to relish, and then they just, so I don't know how the relishing helps, because for some miracles we can just say, okay, accept it, boom, done. But I trust them enough to know, I just go, do I put it in the light, boom, it's gone, or do I relish? And it somehow, that's just a real gentle way of releasing the subconscious denial to a miracle. So at some point I didn't need at all to see, right now we kind of look to see if the miracle's not accepted, we actually look to see where the heaven and hell is flipped, because that can be helpful. And sometimes that at the beginning that needs to seem fully, but once the miracle mindedness, where I'm getting a miracle no matter what he shows me, when that kicks in, then it's just pure relish the, whatever he shows me, and it's like this, with the pain, like a pain would come up occasionally. Oh my gosh, Jesus, I can see I really want it. Oh my God, there's a relish and the pain just can't exist anymore. I sit with it and relish it out. And then it's like, what was that? Because see, that underlying fuel is not just going. So, but you can ask them for you, is that most helpful for healing my mind, to work with you until these subconscious content is released. It just unifies. I can't explain it. It's like it's a concept. First of all, the desire is a concept in the mind that we're treasuring to have the sense of power and helplessness and all this other experience. So then it's just, as soon as it's just energetic. Once we're willing to admit, oh, this is some kind of energy I'm holding, the tension, as Jesus said, miracle constipation. Oh, that's miracle constipation. Well, I know what the solution is. Just show me the relishing of denying the miracle. And then it just, the fragment, like Mary says, I see this is in everything. It goes whole. And then it doesn't need to express in consciousness, doesn't need it. It sees it doesn't need that as an experience. So that's really when the mind becomes really, that's my experience of becoming total, just, I have one focus now. It's like on the miracle. If I have a twitch, I'm going for it, and you'll see the relief in the being, and, not worrying about sickness or body aches or anything like that. No, I'll get a miracle for that. It's just it's Jesus Jiu-Jitsu miracle. So this one's a good one to look at. And after these joining sessions, you may need to look some more with him. So let's just say if I looked at something and he says, okay, that's enough looking. I'd say, do I still need to look at that? He'd say yes. And I go lie down on the couch and I would look at it with him when he said, until it's gone. It's so valuable because we don't believe. You can ask him, Jesus, do I believe I have the power to dispel this mind wandering? Yes or no? That's, that's the crux of it. Because if we trusted in the miracle and in our divine power to say, no, I'm going to see this fully, the axe falls. And
Sorry.
well, go ahead. This is
Oh,
good.
I just need a clarification, because from my perspective, or for what I've experienced, is I can never have the power as long as I think I'm a body, and my ears, my eyes, and everything is the one that's choosing. And I got to get out of that for me to even and join with Jesus or join with Holy Spirit.
Yes.
The minute I'm thinking that, like even fixing anything of my body,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the paradox. There's no body, there's really no ego. So for me, anytime I'm analyzing, anytime I'm trying to work something out, you can hear the mind. You can hear it. And it's like, oh, Jesus is not even invited here. It's like, I can tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I've got this going on, and what? No. And then I go back and listen to Holy Spirit. And that is getting out of the way.
Yeah.
I can't even come into that conversation because I've got the ego going.
Yeah.
And that's why even when it starts with, chapter 30 of, your decision, rules of decision, it is so important, because that is something that, as Jesus is teaching us, we can't do anything without him.
Yes.
We can't do anything. And the minute we think we are, we've lost it. And you might as well just say, drop it.
Yes.
Drop the potato. So I know, I don't know. Believe me, I'm clueless. But I know when I'm in my analyzing mind. I know it right away. It is night and day. There is night and day, and you will not get anywhere with that.
When you're in what? I couldn't hear you.
When I'm in ego mind, or if I'm joining the spirit, when I'm dropping my plans for atonement. When I drop everything, that's the only time I'm going to hear properly, correctly. And it's fuzzy first, but as long as I'm, from the minute you get out of bed, if you're planning your day, you're not with spirit. You're not with Holy Spirit. If you're thinking about the TV show that you're saying, why did they do that? Boom, boom, boom. It's like, I forgot to ask Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit. It's like, it's really a training of trust more than anything, I think.
And it's interesting too, because I found, and we'll hear, that the more relishing I did, the more valuable he became. Like the more miracles, the more valuable. And that makes sense, I guess. But until I had that experience, and then he became the penultimate, right? There was no other interest in anything else other than that. And that's all we're clearing out by looking at, the mind wandering. There's clearly an interest in something other than that. Basically, we're interested in it because we wouldn't be joining, in something other than this mind wandering. But he's just making it so clear to us, where we don't want miracles, and how we made this thing to experience it as intractable. And we like that too. The play is to like feeling the ego's really intractable. I had to look at that and relish the crap out of that one. I relish this being difficult, this waking up, don't I? It was like, oh God. I relish the dark night of the soul, but the fun thing is then you can just start asking, do I relish that, Jesus? Just relish it. Then you're done. Turn over, let the other side cook.
And it's you can call it a course in grievances if you like, because that will help you to go, oh, look at my grievances, Jesus, and not like, oh, I'm gonna think that, or don't think that. So you look at a person, and the minute you're judging, you want to look at that. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for showing me, because that's my desire right there, sitting right in front of my face,
right in front of us.
Yeah.
So let's come back to Jesus. No, you got to get excited about this. And again, this is more of a joining combination with satsang and kind of facilitators training too. So if we come back and we go, because we're going to bring it back, it's role of facilitator to really go, okay, now did we accept the miracle on mind wandering fully all the way to the basement, Jesus? What treasure am I still keeping on mind wandering?
And it's peace.
You get peace from it?
Mhm.
Yeah, it comes back, and we've heard this so often. So I'll see what else I hear, but it's coming back as really not fucking wanting to be responsible for my mind.
Mm.
It's just like way too much work.
Mm.
I'll just, take it easy here. Oh yeah, that movie last night, that character, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah. That really does. That is where the rubber hits the road. Jesus, do I relish an experience where I don't take responsibility for my mind?
Yes.
And you just go and you relish that until he says, okay, you relished it out. You've got the miracle. It's so profound to me. He had to even tell me, I didn't even know when I was getting the miracle. I'd have a miracle and I didn't even know I had a miracle. He had to tell me. That's like humbling. But again, he'd tell me, no, you haven't gone all the way. More to see, grasshopper. Because I'd like relish, right? You relish and relish and relish. And it's like, oh, okay, I think I'm done. And then I could hear him. Then, am I done? but then my mind, I just went, I'm going to be 100% sure. See, when we want to be 100% sure there's not a scrap, we know who to go to. We know exactly who to go to, who's going to have honesty of God, and or we're going to join with a brother who's uncompromising, that's not going to let us geek out. If we want that, and he tells them they can tell you, because that they're going to know. But he may not, you got to ask them, because sometimes he says not to say. But you'll start seeing things like that globally, because he tells you stuff you don't even know what you need to know. That's another thing. But anyway, so coming back to this, what else do we need to see? Are we going to release this to a miracle, or are we going to scraggle along for another timeline? Jesus, do I still have brakes on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like reminding me immediately responsibility for the mind,
Yes.
responsibility for the mind.
Res-
And stepping into following guidance,
Yes.
like consistently.
Yes.
It's like, yeah.
Nothing can be more important than guidance, is the bottom line, really. Because the guidance is where he's going to show us where the deepest, most hidden content is. And that the ego is going to have the greatest resistance to that. See, as soon as you're 100% on the guidance skid, you're game over. So the ego is going to know. I can't hear. I'm feeling kind of fuzzy in this ear. Jesus, there's static on the phone. It's okay. So you have to, and that's why we're going to talk about guidance tonight, and why these sessions are going to evolve into, for those that want it, really guidance sessions, really looking at all the objections to guidance, because it's just wholeness, it's the objection to wholeness. But if we don't have the combination of the guidance to look inside our mind, the guidance to follow guidance, which is also looking inside our mind, we haven't accepted the atonement, basically. Yeah, it's a big fat no to the atonement. So that's all we're seeing. Jesus, do I still want to say no to a miracle on mind wandering? We always, when you get
pull the sword out. I can't pull the sword out.
Yeah. No, I got to keep this in. The sword's sticking out of me. Don't just ignore that sword sticking out of me. It's nothing. It's nothing to have to poke my eye out with scissors. But this is the perfect example of how we like to poke ourselves when Jesus tries to take the scissors away. I am not giving you mind wandering, Jesus, no matter what. See? But it's good to see. It's good to see it, but then we got to say, look, we are not some kind of powerless wimps. Look. All right, that was a little play. I had my play day. That is hell. See, that's how it uses a timeline, not to see that mind wandering is hellacious. It's a beast, but it's not gonna, you got to see the beast. That's why it's helpful when you look down there and you see the devils dancing around the fireplace. Oh, like that. And you're, holy smokes, man, and your hair smokes. You look at, that's how it felt sometimes looking at the desire. It's like every cell just couldn't have wanted it more. Couldn't have wanted it more.
And it seems like any number of times the experience is that I just think there's no fucking way out of this. It's not going to happen. And then bing, it's gone.
Because it's just a change in mind. It's just, all a miracle is I'm changing my mind, Jesus. But that's what we're dithering on. I'm powerless. I love the play of powerlessness to my own mind wandering or whatever. We're so hilarious. That's why we brought together to laugh our heads off at how we like playing in delusion. Jesus, am I keeping this mind wandering because the truth is, I really do like playing in the delusion. Yes, that's so humbling.
Yeah.
100.
And complaining about it. Go ahead, darling. What were you going to say?
I said 100%. And then complaining about it and being a victim about it.
That's right.
And
Course and
blaming-
grievances.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus is telling me I'm ready to stop. Ha 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 ha. That was a funny. So I'll let you guys know next time I see you if I no longer mind wander.
Well, they'll probably be, you can see on the night sessions, that's why he's given a hint of this in the night sessions where they're back to back, you're looking again. But now, see, this is a really strong team we've got. And so you guys are, and it's helpful to have saying, look, we are going for this. Hold hands. We're not going to not accept the miracle. It's not acceptable not to accept the miracle. See, there's some belief that there's some value in not accepting the miracle. And then you just look again.
It's so funny you should put it that way, because for this other miracle, which I'm going to, Janice, can I contact you later? Because I was confused by something you said. I just want to understand it. But is that okay? I can't hear you.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Maybe my computer went really fast, so I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
I just asked if I could contact you later because I was confused by something you said. Is that okay?
Unless you want to just say it here.
No, it feels
Well,
good
I don't-
for you guys
I don't
to
wanna-
join. I hear it.
What?
It feels good for you guys to join on that. I hear it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's not a big deal. I want to make sure I understood, and I don't want to, get bogged down. But when you were saying, now I lost my thought what I was going to say, but that's fine. Thanks.
Jesus will to you.
I think she said good to join later. Right?
But there was something else I was in the middle of saying. It was like, you said it. What did you say was not acceptable, Kay?
That it's not acceptable to not accept the miracle.
And that's phrasing is really helpful to me because I'm seeing that this one miracle feels unacceptable to me. And I don't understand why.
Yes.
I don't understand why.
Awesome. What she's saying, listen to what she's saying. Listen to what we're seeing. See, this miracle feels unacceptable. A miracle for mind wandering. That's great. Wow.
That miracle, the mind-wandering one, feels totally acceptable. It's this physical healing issue for me that feels unacceptable. And it's unacceptable to me that it's unacceptable. So I'm trying to understand. I guess I'll ask Jesus.
Yeah, you can ask Jesus, or you can join, or you and Janice can look at it together. But we really have to be clear whether we've accepted the miracle on mind wandering, yes or no.
I feel like I did.
Yeah.
It's an insidious little guy down there. Very insidious. He likes taking his time. Jesus, have I accepted a miracle on mind wandering? Yes or no?
No.
So it's just something to cogitate on. Here's the other thing that would happen that for me, I'll just share it, is I'd be going, I just don't think, I desire that much. And I'd be sitting there washing dishes and I'd go, holy smokes, I love that more than, So sometimes these things will pop a little later. It's good to have the miracle now, but just stay with it. That's the most important thing. I am determined to see. I am not going to be wimp myself divinity out by not accepting miracles. It's not going to be acceptable for me not to accept a miracle.
I'm hearing yes for the miracle.
See, this is the point where we really want to be clear with Jesus, whether we fully accept the miracle. I always go back and double check that I really accepted Jesus, just to make 100% sure.
I hear yes.
I hear yes too. But each one of us needs to look and make darn sure that we did.
Yeah.
See, it's just a decision in mind. Quit thinking around. Just go in and just be doubly sure. And then if you're not gonna look, this is what we have each other for. Jump a join. Lael and Janice, or you guys are really, the seeing in this group is so off the chain. I mean, this is a group that really wants God. How blessed can we be? So jump a join with each other whenever you want to look at this kind of stuff. That's just glorious. And again, Lael, you've asked, Darlene, I could hear you too as potentially facilitating groups as well. If that's the call of your heart, let us know. I don't know when the groups will appear, but we'll have the facilitators. It might be at first too that you guys will just take turns on some of our evening sessions too. We'll pray on that. I could hear that.
Yeah, I could hear that.
I could hear that. That just feels good. So we'll pray on that and see when that comes in. Okay. But yeah, Darlene, let us know. Okay. If you feel that, because it just feels really beautiful and high function. We love you guys so much. Thank you so much for jumping and joining with us.
Janice, please accept my friend request on Facebook. I requested like that 7 days ago, FYI.
I will.
Okay.
I'm not on Facebook yet.
So I want to mention
Thank
this
you.
too, while we're, because for any being that stays the course on this 2 hours or whatever, hour and 40 minutes. Okay. Here's what you do. If you're not on our Facebook Messenger group, that's where you can find joining partners. We're going to have Joining Express. If any of you guys too want to be on our Joining Express calendar where you just happen to be available, somebody wants to join. Okay. But if you're in the Messenger group, so if you want to be in it, to find joining partners, you text us. If you want to join with a partner, what you do is you right click on their picture, right click, and you can send them, it'll have an option, send them a message. That's what my Mac says.
Yep.
You can message, yeah.
So you can message back and forth and then, do all the, accept and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to make sure it's just, Jesus wants it easy breezy for us to join since it's our assignment for the atonement.
And you can go into the title of our messenger group and click on it and look for the list of people who are members. And if maybe, I know Janice, is in there somewhere, you can just go down the list, it's alphabetical, and then click on the person.
Yeah, right click on them and
right click.
Yeah. View their profile, whatever. Okay. Oh my God. So good. We'll see you back on at 7. Woohoo, Jesus.
Yes,
Here we come.
looking forward to that.
Straight home. Love you.
Love you guys. Thank you.